Hey, Jason Starr here, back with another writing tip video, and today I'm going to talk about how I came up with my idea to write about the border issues in Red Border, and where did I come up with the idea for the comic. If you haven't been reading it yet, issue 3 of Red Border is, well, I'm holding it backwards. Issue 3 is out this Wednesday, that's July 15th, if you're watching this before July 15th, that's in a couple of days. If you're watching this in the future, you could seek out the back issues. It's a 4-issue series that actually was released during when the pandemic started in March. So we've had to play a little catch up, but now it's being released every month at comic book stores, and we've gotten a great response to it so far. If you want to catch up, it's on also on Webtoons and Tapas, so you could read it in that format. But the hard copy is going to be in stores July 15th, and then ultimately the graphic novel is going to be released in October. Okay, so why did I write about the Texas-Mexico border? Several reasons. First off, the issues that are going on at the border are important to me, and I wanted to write about it in some way, but in an indirect way. I didn't want to specifically write a drama about current events, but I wanted that to be in the backdrop, and I knew I had to come up with the right story for that. I lived in Mexico in my 20s with a family in Guadalajara, and I've been back there a few times, loved Mexico. So that was another reason I wanted to write about Mexico and Mexicans. But again, I wanted a way into the story that I felt was fresh. There was something that hadn't been done before. And so my main characters are Mexican with Spanish ancestors. And I wanted to write about some of the class issues in Mexico, as well as what's going on the border. So that was one way in. But for me, it always starts with where the action and suspense is in a story. So when I came up with the ideas for Eduardo and Karina, who are the heroes in the story, that scene where I open the comic where they're having this dinner party with friends, and then everything just goes to hell, that was the scene that I really saw clearly in my head, and I knew that was going to start them on the run. And I really wanted this to be the type of story, like a real thriller, where you hit the ground running and you just don't stop until the last page. So it was constantly moving forward with that big adrenaline rush. And then I started thinking about the other characters. There's the cartel who's after them, and then when they get to the border, there's a mysterious family, I won't give anything away, but who takes them in, and there's definitely a Get Out element, a Texas Chainsaw Massacre element that I wanted to get into the story. What attracted to me to tell this particular story in this way was thinking about a way to do a thriller that would merge in with horror in some ways, that would bend the genre in some ways. It was a challenge to take a story that starts off as a straight-ahead thriller and then put these horror elements into it, and there's also a revenge story in it, a story about the relationship between Eduardo and Karina, and the villains in this story were fun to write. I mean, it's always fun to write for me, it's always fun to write the darker characters, but Colby, who's part of this family, was a blast to write, and the mob boss Javier was also a blast to write. So yeah, I wanted to write a fresh story about what's going on at the border, and the issues, the current event issues, are in the backdrop of the story for sure. Eduardo and Karina have to cross the border, and they meet someone who helps them get across, and I wanted the issues to come out in an organic way. I didn't want it to be talking about the wall and Trump in a very preachy sort of way. This is like an anti-preachy story. It's a character-driven thriller, and that's always my intention. I don't write directly about ideas. For me, it's always about the characters and the story. So that's where it came from. If you like this video, Please subscribe to the channel, share the video, check out Red Border, look for the issues in your local comic store, and check out the graphic novel when it's out in October.